This is the MLW Radio Network. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace world and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what is on your mind?
On this 4th of July, on which you're listening to, I am red, white, and bruised.
You have the red, white, and blue on the shirt and on your arm.
Yeah. Hate to sound like a crybaby, but yeah, little inside baseball. We're recording this on July 1st. Last night, June 30th, we had a special live event for the Monster Factory at the 2300 Arena. And I was in the Battle Royal that they had, their version of the Royal Rumble. And for whatever reason, whenever I wrestle, I'm like the king of the mystery bruise. Where I'll have a bruise, I just don't know where it came from, except this one, I know where I got. And I was, well, the deal is I was in the Battle Royal, and I was, of course, challenging the heel to a dance-off. And as I was doing my version of dance-off, he gave me a little low blow and went to throw me over the top rope. And I was like, I was so focused on selling the nut shot that I wanted my elimination to look real enough, but my arm got caught up. Like I had my hand on the top rope, and on the way down, my arm hit the second rope, and it was just like, it's like one of those burns your grandfather gives you when you're a kid, when he grabs the arm and just starts twisting. So I got this little gimmick. You can see if you go to patreon.com/mindofthemeanie.
Yeah, you can watch us there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, for someone who's never been in a wrestling ring before in that way, like, what does something like that feel like?
Oh, it sucks. But it also didn't help that, like, the Monster Factory got like a new ring. And it's a little bit taller.
Oh,
it's like it's like slightly higher from the floor than the rings I'm used to, and the ropes are a little bit lower, kind of like WCW ring ropes, and which ain't bad, but like everything was just thrown off. I was like, man, we're way up here. And halfway down, I was trying to do my best to sell what happened to me and get eliminated.
Right.
And in the process, I got the mother of all raspberries on my arm.
Oh.
It is what it is. It's a good conversation piece, I guess, for hopefully nobody thinks I'm a fucking cutter or anything, but it's a good conversation piece. Oh, what's that? Oh, well, by the way, did you know I'm a professional wrestler? It used to be my conversation piece for like the blue hair. People go, oh, what are you in a band? Well, no, actually, it's for my job. I'm a professional wrestler.
Well, actually, funny you asked. Yes.
Yeah, funny you ask. Funny you're nosy. Nosy prick.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the fucking JBL guy.
What's it to you? Were you a cop? That's what the question.
What are you, the question king? You Dan Rather? The fuck?
Somebody asked me a question. I'm pretty sure it's none of their business. I go, what are you, writing a fucking book? Are you a cop?
See, I don't think I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I know if you give me the side eye and you give me the cop question, then I'm like, all right, I know I've hit my limit with Meanie here.
Dude, I don't know if I said this last week, but we had a signing at my friend Justin's store in Mays Landing, Far Point Toys.
Yeah.
Him, my friend Justin, and Mrs. Meanie were having a conversation. They talk about they know they can tell when I've mentally checked out of a conversation, where like I'm having a conversation and somebody's totally talking about something or not letting me have my end of the conversation. And so I just check it. I was like, this odd conversation is obviously all about you and what you think, and you don't want me to say anything. So I'm just going to check out and just stare off into space. And once you realize I'm done engaging with you, you'll just walk away. It's just,
It's a lot easier. I feel like it's a lot easier to do that than it is to just kind of awkwardly. You give that like, hey, I'm trying to give you my body language that I'm leaving this conversation, but you can't get away because you're stuck. And it's like, how do I get out of this?
I call it the soft landing. I give you a soft landing to ease your way out of the conversation. I can move on. George Carlin has a fucking brilliant bit about it. I think the bit's called "People Are Stupid," and he's just talking about like how people don't know how to have a fucking phone call anymore. It's like you try to hang up, you're like, yeah, okay, oh well, all right, that's cool, and then, and the people usually go, okay, talk to you later, and then did I tell you about my kids? Oh fuck,
did I tell you about my mom and dad? That's the one. Yeah. Did I tell you about my mom and dad? My mom and dad. It was like 6 years ago. No, maybe it was 7. Let's say 6.5. That's literally my father-in-law. It's the worst thing in the entire world.
Yeah, George Carlin does the perfect bit on it, and it's amazing. But yeah. I don't know how we got down this road, but
I don't know. Hey, but you know what? Who I'm glad joined us on this voyage, on this sojourn, if you will. The Pod Squad is here today with us. What up, Pod Squad? Schlichter's here. Vanessa's here. Bailey's here. Shackelford with the hammer. Go to patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie right now. Sign up, become a patron on Patreon, and join us in our chat here.
Speaking of Schlichter came out to the 2300 arena for the Monster Factory event, and him and Jeffrey Mitchell and his wonderful family as well came out, and me and his young son recreated a photo we took where he had me in a headlock when he was a wee boy. And now he's he's taller boy. And it was pretty fun to recreate that. And I popped myself when I realized, I was on the same side of him, and the pictures are almost identical, except the kid is much taller now. So a lot of fun. I love doing shows. I love doing meet and greets. I love just sitting around and bullshitting with people and just, having a good time. And last night was a good time. It was good. I'm glad Schlichter made the trip down, and so many of my friends came out and hung out, and it was a good time.
Yeah, there's a lot of great pictures here. It looks like you are in the Battle Royal, so check it out. You can find it on YouTube right now, right?
Go to find the Monster Factory Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. Show went a little long. It was almost like 4 hours, but it was a good showing. The building was packed. Little Inside Baseball, they're filming a docuseries on the Monster Factory called Monster Factory, which is slated for December on Apple TV. So they filmed a lot with me last night. They filmed a little bit with me at the school, but with COVID and everything, I try not to have to go over there as much because there's testing and retesting and all that stuff. But they tested everybody for this show, but I got to do a lot of stuff, and I got filmed a lot last night, which was fun. But definitely, I'm sure I'll have the information when more comes out. But go to youtube.com Monster Factory. I want to say it's Monster Factory TV or Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. Either way, you can't miss it. The show is called Step Into the Arena. Check that out.
Definitely check it out. We'll put it in the show notes as well for you, and we'll make sure that we post it in the social groups as well. I wanted to ask you, though, at the top of the program, as our friend Jim Cornette would say, well, goddamn, what do you think about Matt Riddle in the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up very, very soon? How are you feeling?
I'm very excited for him. WWE's doing like some side videos of, with him of him training. He trains in martial arts. Him and there's Sumi Sasaki, her and her husband train as well. And there's the video. They're in the video clip. Shinsuke Nakamura, he's in the video training because they do the mixed martial arts and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very cool that they're doing these little featurettes on him on the YouTube channel. But I think it's really cool. Right now is the perfect opportunity for Riddle to get that singles run because he's been with RK Bro. And there's been a couple times where they've talked about splitting up RK Bro, and wisely they talked them out of it. Riddle and Randy talked them out of it. It's like, look, we're one of the top selling T-shirts in the company. Why would you stop that? I mean, are you allergic to money? Yeah. Let's keep this thing going. But unfortunately, Randy got injured for shoot, and out of a bad situation comes an opportunity for Riddle to possibly become a contender for one of the belts. The men's Money in the Bank briefcase, which he can have the pick of the litter of which championship he wants to go for. And I think that would be that's a pretty cool prospect for him, considering the journey he's been on from MMA to coming to the Monster Factory, killing it at the Monster Factory, then getting signed, going to NXT. Well, he went to Evolve, and then he went to NXT, and now he's been on the main roster for a little bit now, and he's been killing. He's got a following. People love him. I love him. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I'll put on my fanboy hat.
Yeah.
I'll always cheer for the people. I cheer for the business as a whole, but for special people I have a connection with, and I'm really proud of Matt. As I was proud of everybody who was at the Monster Factory show last night and had a good showing, and it's just part of when you coach with somebody, it's there's a piece of you with them, because the fact that he made it this far means me and the rest of the coaches at Monster Factory did a good job coaching him up. He had the tools. It's like, I coached Matt Riddle, but I didn't really have to teach him how to wrestle because he's a champion amateur wrestler, and he's an accomplished mixed martial artist. I just had to retool his mechanics towards pro wrestling. So, and that's what we did at the Monster Factory. And the fact that he's in the Money in the Bank ladder match is quite an accomplishment. He's legit. Yeah, I mean he's legit. Like what you see is just him with the volume turn up a little bit, even though he seems as mellow as can be. I'm just so proud of him.
It looks like a pretty stacked card, and honestly, like what I like about this style of the Money in the Bank is that there are several people in here, not just one. Like it's not like it's Brock Lesnar versus like 6 people, because you know how that's going to turn out. But it's like Seth Rollins could easily win this. So could Drew McIntyre. Sami Zayn could, like any one of these people could absolutely win it and would be the right choice. There's still a contender that's out there. Obviously, by the time this show airs, we'll know who won. But because it's tomorrow, but it's still, I'm excited this time around to see who's going to win, because I'm curious to see if they are going to push Riddle, because they're in this weird spot where they don't have any built brand new big names, right? There's no one that's kind of there right now on the top level in the way Cody or Roman.
And then the babyface department.
Right. So I mean, like it's, Drew is almost back to that point, I think, but I feel like there's a different build for him and Roman if they're going to go do that match in England, but maybe Riddle will be the one that kind of pulls it off. I think there's a great story with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline outside of it, but I don't know if it's necessarily the right choice for him to win, but we'll see.
Imagine, Drew and Roman in England. And which belt is that for? Is that for both belts or for one of the belts?
If I remember correctly, he mentioned the Universal title during the promo that he gave, because he's on SmackDown.
So imagine, Drew wins the Universal title, and then Riddle comes in and cashes in for the world title.
Jesus.
So he can lose the belts to 2 people at the same time.
Yeah. And
then just goes on a rampage and just, goes through the Roman's Revenge tour, all the way up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And they either be WrestleMania against Riddle or Drew,
I think what's a little less clear for me is
WrestleMania, or did I mean SummerSlam?
I think SummerSlam. Yeah, you said WrestleMania, but I think you meant SummerSlam in August. Yeah. I knew what you meant, and the listeners did too. Don't forget patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Watch our beautiful faces. Watch our beautiful faces.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I struck one of those poses in the battle royal because I was in the corner and nobody was coming to me. I just I was taking my 3rd grade fake woodsy background photo. I was just sitting like,
dude, I shit you not. My senior photos. I don't have the proofs anymore. I used to have them. I don't know where they went. But one of the poses, I swear to God, was one of these. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what are we doing here? This is insane.
One time Bill Apter came to an ECW show. I want to say, I forget where. It was at an ice rink like north of Philly. And he was taking photos for the magazine, and like Dreamer and a bunch of the boys were in the room, and I'm posing for Bill. So I just started doing these like goofy poses, like the one, like this one with like, with the two hands under the chin and looking inquisitive. And I was just doing that the pop.
Yeah.
I think they might have used one of them, but it was that's my go-to pose, to trying to, pop someone or make them laugh.
Little Jimmy is here. I want to make sure we give a shout out to Little Jimmy from Nebraska is here. I'm an Adam Barnard guy. Shirt is over. Yes. By the way, go to prowrestlingtees.com/mind of the meaning right now.
Hey, right now there's a sale until July 5th. So get in on it. Use promo code America22.
Yep.
For prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie /Mind of the Meanie. Get your
Foundation Radio.
Yes, sir. And use that code and save. I know we usually do the promo at the end, but while I'm thinking of it and before I get stupid,
yes,
too late.
We have we have breaking news.
Yes.
Sorry.
No.
Let's try it again. We have breaking news. A meanie alert. We have a meanie alert.
Go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie /Mind of the Meanie /Foundation Radio. Use promo code America22 and save 20% on all t-shirts and various merchandise that we have there.
See, I misread that. I thought you were going to go into another thing where you were going to talk about at the end where you're going to be appearing, and I thought that you were just going to drop the beginning part of that, so I totally fucked that up. So that's my fault, friends. And we're having a good time here. It's Meanie After Dark. We're having fun.
It's more like dusk or twilight.
Yeah. Meanie
is more twilight this evening. I am a dumb meanie.
Meanie after twilight.
Meanie no think good.
Tommy want wingy. So the one I'm not so sure about right now is the women's match. Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch for the briefcase. Meanie, I know this is going to air after it happens, but who is your pick to win the women's Money in the Bank briefcase this year?
I would definitely have to go for Asuka, just because when they had WWE superstars representing classic ECW talent, Asuka was the BWO.
That's right.
So yeah, and she's amazing. So yeah, definitely her or Shotzi. Because Shotzi's an amazing talent as well. I mean, they're all amazing, talented women. But so if I had to pick, and feel the direction, feel the tide, either Asuka or Shotzi.
See, I'm gonna throw a curveball. I think it's Liv Morgan's time right now. I think it's I think the build is finally there for her, and I think she could do it. I don't know. I feel like it's difficult to say who she would cash in against, though. If it would be a Bianca or Ronda, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the mystery of it, and that's what keeps us guessing. That's the beauty of the Money in the Bank briefcase, because you never know. But yeah, I don't know who. I mean, who would you even decide to pick? It depends on how you. Then again, everything's written in pencil. That's why it's worker's pencil. That's because there's an eraser on the end. So
one of the things I never really like though about the Money in the Bank is when the guys lose. Like Baron Corbin lost, cashed in, which I think is kind of ridiculous. But I never understood that. It's like if the whole point is this guy to cash in to become the champion, you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess in my head it's like, well, why give him the briefcase? It's not like Otis winning in 2020, but it's just like, I don't know.
Well, the briefcase doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the belt.
True.
It's the excitement of potentially, catching a champion at a moment of weakness and taking advantage. But, hey, Babe Ruth didn't hit a home run every time he went to the plate. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
There's got to be a moment where somebody fails to cash in. You know, just wrestling should have that element of realism. I've told the story a million times. People would think Sabu was botching his moves, but I know for a fact in matches he would purposely work a botch, but just because he had the theory that and I stole the line from him. Babe Ruth hit a home run every time he went to bat. Baseball's the sport where you only have to be 30% successful to be considered a good player. When it comes to hitting the ball.
Yeah. If
you hit the ball 30% out of 100, you're good. The best player was Ted Williams, and he had a lifetime 400, 40% average.
Yeah.
That meant he stunk 60% of the time.
Right.
And wrestling, not everything should be automatic. Back in the day, back in the 90s, the psychology in Old Japan is guy hit his finisher, guy kicked out. All right, I'm going to hit my finisher again. You stay the fuck down.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Money in the Bank, if somebody cashes and they don't win, I'm fine with it. As long as it's done right and done well.
Yeah.
And then somehow it furthers a storyline or an angle, wrestling shouldn't be perfect. It should be sloppy, It should look real. It should look unplanned, There's so much in wrestling that looks so, I hate to go on a rant, they look so planned that it's just like, Al Snow has the perfect analogy. It's the fireworks pop. It's the oohs and the ahs, not the, oh my God, holy shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Kind of reaction you want. Guttural, visceral reactions, not oohs and ahs. But, wrestling should never look perfect. It should look real, like jazz, just wing it.
I know that Kevin Nash said something along the lines of that he didn't like when Mick Foley went off the top of the cage, or like was angry about it or something. There's a video out there of him talking about it, and he was
Who's this now?
Kevin Nash.
Okay.
Said that he was upset when Mick Foley went off the top of the cage because now it's almost like, well, everybody's going to top that, and how is everybody going to top that? Do you think? Right. I guess, what's your take on that? Because I'd be curious to know if you thought that was a good move for him. Like in I guess, as sort of as someone who's in the wrestling world, what would your take on that be?
I mean, I get what Kevin's saying, but also what Mick did added to the allure of, Hell in a Cell.
Right.
I can see if you're on a card in the opening match and you do a move that takes away from the rest of the show. There's that joke, when you see somebody doing the match, you're like, shit, what am I going to do now? They did everything in the first match.
Yeah.
And, there in wrestling, there's always that element of we're going to do to top that. I can see if you're on a card and the guy in the opening match, hits a bunch of finishers, and they've seen everything before the main eventer goes out there, and he kills the flow of the show. Certain matches are put in certain spots for certain reasons, ebb and flow. Bring them up, bring them down. Not that bringing them down's a bad thing or an insult. It's just what you do, a little breather, but as far as, Mick going off the cage, that was, a moment for a particular match, which was Hell in a Cell. And, it added to the mystique and the allure of what could happen in Hell in a Cell. Now, the fact that, people go off the side of the cage all the time, to me, I think is a little overkill, because it does take a little bit away from the mystique of what Mick did.
Right.
If something should be dangerous and stuff like that. So, people going off the side of the cage all the time after Mick, to me, that was a little bit overkill. That area should never have been broached.
Yeah.
Again. But, I don't think Mick going off the cage killed it for anybody. Just, but I get what Kevin's saying, and I totally understand and respect his opinion. But in my opinion, he did what he did help make a gimmick match even more mysterious and dangerous.
Yeah.
See, it's just being a regular old cage match where you're able to fight on the floor. It added an element of danger to that match that shit, these guys could fight on top of the goddamn thing, and fly off the top. And that second, even though that second bump wasn't playing with the choke slam.
Right.
Good Lord. I mean,
I think the anniversary was just recently too. I think it was 21 years ago or 22 years ago now?
Yeah. Something like that.
But no, it's funny you said that. I guess it's funny we transitioned into this because it just happened at Blood and Guts. I guess it was Wednesday. Eddie Kingston threw Sammy Guevara off the top of the cage. And I thought, wow, that was, I tend to agree with friend of the show, Eric Bischoff, when he talks about the grittiness of AEW, like sort of the unseasoned, like not underproduced, but like it's not like a movie quality the way WWE does it, right? They don't have the AK cameras. They don't have any of that stuff. So I appreciated sort of the WCW style view of it. But at the same time, it wasn't, when I watched it, it was just like I had there was no reaction from me. It was very much like okay, he went off the top of the cage. He landed on a big, like, same thing with Miz and Shane McMahon when they did the big spot at WrestleMania when he did the suplex off the top of the ramp. It was just like, it was cool visually, but at the same time, it's like, we've already kind of broached this.
It's cool visually for the people who have floor seats.
Right.
Yeah. See the pre-planned stack of tables with cardboard boxes full of whatever they film in to break the fall.
Right.
But by watching at home, getting thrown off the top of a cage onto something that's normally not at ringside any other time.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of takes away from it.
It's
again, and the Blood and Guts. I love that they're doing their version of the War Games. But again, once Jericho went off the top,
oh man,
there should have been a moratorium of people not going off the top for a while. I think that should have been kept for, there should have been like a Jericho statute of limitations of, okay, when's the next time somebody could go off the top? Because if you keep going off the top of Blood and Guts, it kind of takes away from the Jericho bump.
Well, right, and then you're also expecting it. It's just like, okay, now we're here and we're waiting. Like it's very predictable. Yeah,
if you're expecting it and it happens, it's like, why even tune in to watch if you're expecting it?
Right.
If like we were talking last week with the Kofi thing in the Rumble, even though the Kofi thing I thought was creative. A little bit more creative each and every year. He one-upped himself. But if somebody else did it, it would just wouldn't have had the same speciality to it.
Yeah, it's watching Shane McMahon or Randy Orton do it. It's like, not exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, if anybody else did it, it would have been like, that's Kofi's thing. Right. Going off the top of Blood and Guts. There should be a moratorium because Jericho took that one nesty plunge off the top,
The nesty plunge.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking terrifying, though, dude. I work in a building in Philadelphia that's 29 stories high. If I get close to the windows, man, my fucking knees buckle. Do you imagine standing out top of I don't even know how high that cage is. 15
Dude,
foot?
When I first got into ECW, the Pitbulls had this finisher called the Super Bomb, where the one Pitbull, Pitbull Anthony, was on the top. And Gary would pick you up like an atomic drop, but feed you into Anthony. Anthony would stand up with you and power bomb you from the second rope. I took a few of those, and there's something very unnerving about looking out into the crowd and then slowly watching them disappear, and you're staring at the ceiling, and you don't know when impact is coming. You don't know when you're about to hit. And, if you're taking a certain bump, like, and you can prepare yourself. When you're taking your own bump for something, you can prepare have a good idea when you're going to land and when to brace, like that. You're like, holy shit, so, to go backwards off a cage that high, kudos to Jericho for being able to have the nerve to do it.
Yeah.
Take a blind bump, hoping you hit the sweet spot, so to speak,
That's I mean, it's ballsy. I mean, again, it was good visually, I guess the impact, I think, when he landed in the padding, I think people had a little bit of an issue with that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so we all are sitting here agreeing that a 50-some-odd-year-old man should just fall right onto the concrete, right? That's what we're doing. Yeah.
I have no problem with that because, in the pandemic, they had a certain setup, and where he fell was part of the natural setup of the building anyway.
Right.
They gimmicked something that was always there.
Well, right. That was the difference between that fall and what happened a couple days ago with Eddie and Guevara.
Yeah, I love Eddie and Sammy. I'm not dissing them, but
right. No. Yeah.
It was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Because he got thrown off onto an area thrown onto something that was, you won't see that area, whatever that contraption was, you won't see it there next week. So it was put there for this week, so it takes away the danger of the spot.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes the magic away.
I think the last time that I really popped for somebody jumping off the top of a cage was probably Shane at 30, what was that, 32 or 33?
Yeah.
When he jumped off.
Yeah.
That was crazy to watch. Like, just thinking about him landing there was just like, because I don't think any of that gimmicked. I couldn't tell. Here's me being a mark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could tell. Once you hit the table, you could see whatever airbag they had inflated underneath.
Oh, they had an airbag because I watched it back, and
when it looked, my eyes, you saw something go, like let the air out.
I see.
Yeah, well, they just blacked it out of they blacked it around it with a black curtain or whatever. So when he hits, you see like draping go out.
Yeah,
like letting air out of a fucking. Yeah, just like the thing that Sammy landed on the other night.
Yeah, like a big pad.
They just cover it in black draping, and they just put black whatever inflatable thing underneath the table for Shane and covered it in black, so it just looked more natural.
Even still, I mean, he could have slipped on that. You know what I mean? Like there's like what happened with Rob and friend of the show, Rob Van Dam and Triple H, like. He almost killed Hunter, and it wasn't on purpose. It was just because he slipped off. Anything could happen, and that's, to me, like, that is anybody who's doing it. Shane, Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho. It's balls. Like, it takes a certain level of balls of steel to do something like that.
No, I respect it. It's just there should be a moratorium on it.
Yeah, I think we need to retire stuff like that. What I want to see more of, though, is Claudio spinning people. I saw a tweet. I don't care if you call him Cesaro, Claudio. He's in the fucking Blackpool Combat Club, which is exactly where the fuck he needs to be. I think, my friend, if there was ever a forbidden door, Blue Meanie, it should be the Bloodline and the Blackpool Combat Club. That would be, you're just printing money right now. But somebody tweeted that Claudio, they should end an episode of Rampage with Claudio spinning someone and open the next episode of Dynamite, and he's still spinning that person. And I was like, that'd be fucking great.
That would be amazing. And speaking of Forbidden Door, let's not forget that, 3 AEW talents appeared on Monday Night Raw last night to give well wishes for John Cena.
How cool was that?
Daniel Bryan, Big Show, and Jericho all sent in videos for John Cena, 3 contracted AEW talents. So, that's the true Forbidden Door,
right?
If somebody goes over from WWE to AEW, well, they kind of did with the Austin podcast, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it could. I mean, if that Tony Khan granted them, according to Fightful Select, Tony Khan was reached out by WWE. He granted all 3 of the requests. He was like, "Yep, go ahead." So I'm sure in the future there might be some of that reciprocity, but I did not expect to see any of them on the show. I was like, wow, that's cool. And then Daniel Bryan, just show first, and then Daniel Bryan shows up. You're like, what? This is weird, but I like it,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was very cool of Tony to allow that, and cool of WWE to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was speaking of the Forbidden Door, Sam Roberts, he does a podcast called Not Sam Wrestling, and he was doing an ultimate booking of WWE and AEW, the Forbidden Door. And there was like, he was like basically like no rules, no injuries, no cap, no egos. It's just me, fantasy booking. And I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. But one of the things that he did, one of the matches that now I'm like, I want to see this because I think it would be great, was Sami Zayn and Orange Cassidy. And I thought, like, I'm sitting here imagining, he's like gaming it out. And I'm sitting here imagining, and I'm like, fuck, that would be incredible.
Just the promos. Just that would be amazing. And I'm sure their paths have crossed when they both worked at Chikara. So I'm sure somewhere, what was Sami Zayn before?
El Generico.
I wanted to say Delirious, but that's somebody else. El Generico. I'm sure El Generico crossed paths with what Orange Cassidy's prior gimmick in Chikara. So, but this iteration of both of them, like Sami Zayn and Orange Cassidy, that would be fantastic. Just for the promos alone. Yeah. Forget the match. Just give me the promos,
between the promos and like, I feel like there is no one else right now who could like believably sell the Orange Cassidy gimmick the way that Sami Zayn could sell that gimmick. Like that would be like, he's just like, get your hands out of your pockets, fight me, do something. And he does his moves and he's like, come on, man. What do you do? It was just like very, very funny the way he was gaming it out. But now I'm sitting here like, fuck, that would be some impressive shit. So speaking, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of impressive shit, you guys broke the internet the other day at the, what was it? The major wrestling figure podcast? You and Real Daddy were there, right?
Yeah. We went down to Jimmy's Famous Seafood last Friday. It was pretty cool to hang out and be a part of that universe. Shout out to Matt Cardona and Brian Myers for creating this cool world they've created with their own homegrown talent and stuff like that, their own in show characters. And it was cool. They brought me out and, I did an interview, did a couple skits and stuff like that. And then it was a great one big hang, everybody was there hanging out, and it was great to see like Colt Cabana and Johnny Gargano and, Swoggle, and it's so cool. I'm still kind of buzzing over it. It was a good time.
Yeah. I'm excited to have the three of us back on the show together. We're trying to find time for Real Dad to come back. He's been out for cigarettes for at least 2 years now, and we're really excited to have him back at some point. I'm trying to think of what else is going on. Here's little Jimmy asked me a question here. Was listening to Pat McAfee's show earlier this week, and what do you guys think of Adrian Peterson? And I don't know how to pronounce his name. Liavion? Am I saying that right? Bell in a boxing match.
They're having a boxing match.
I'm actually on the Google right now looking up when it's happening. Levon. I think it's Levon.
No, it's Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell. That's it. Thank you. My brain wasn't processing it.
Steelers. He was at Steelers, and then I forget, he might have went to the Jets. I don't know where he's at now, but I have no idea that they're doing a boxing match.
Yeah, honestly, I'm trying to pull it up here. CBS. Adrian Peterson, and
I know what's his name. Ocho Cinco's in town preparing for a fight. Chad Johnson, aka Chad Ocho Cinco, he's been out and about in Philly, doing a bunch of stuff. He was at a Phillies game the other night, and they showed him in the crowd just watching the Phillies. He's wearing all Phillies gear.
Wow!
And he just did a couple things with some of the Eagles players, like. He was running routes with Jalen Reagor of the Eagles, working out. So he's in town for something. And from what I heard, he's going to try to do one of those celebrity boxing matches. So he's been in town training or doing something. Google it.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm reading. He gave a shout out to the Green Eggs Cafe, which is a fantastic food spot here in Philly.
Absolutely.
Let me see. What is he doing in town here? Well, this Adrian Peterson, while that's loading, they're going to be fighting on July 30th. The Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. I don't have an opinion on this. I'm not big on celebrity boxing. Not my thing. Honestly, and I don't care that much for Adrian Peterson. So, meh.
Meh. They tried to get me to do one of those fucking celebrity boxing things here in Philly. There's a local promoter, Damon Feldman. Like he'll have like Octomom come in town. He'll have a whole bunch of like different people do skits or celebrity boxing. And they reached out to me once. I was like, absolutely not. Yeah. No thanks. I'm good.
They, I'm familiar with Mr. Feldman. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Not something I would be necessary.
I know a guy, but you hear stories.
Yeah, we'll leave it at this. I've had an interaction with Mr. Feldman, and it's not particularly anything I want to talk about. But I'm glad you didn't do the boxing match. I don't know, man. It just seems like a cash grab, and it's kind of embarrassing most times, and it's just like, no thanks. Hard pass, little Jimmy, if you're asking Adam. And I think Meanie.
To paraphrase Meatloaf, I would do anything for fun, but I won't do that.
Yeah, not happening, man. Let me see what else is going on, man.
Oh, by the way, let's get that out of the way right now.
What's that?
The title of the show this week will be "I will do anything for fun, but I won't do that."
There we go. I'm writing it out right now.
People to listen. They'll get that. That'll get the casual listener.
That'll find him, pal. Won't.
Not like a Meatloaf song. You'll know what I won't do.
That's right. And you'll listen, and you could have heard it early and ad-free at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. Could have heard this a couple of days in advance, and now you're sitting on the beach, drinking your Bud Light, watching the fireworks, and you're like, fuck, I wish I would have heard this earlier.
Speaking of fireworks, we went to the Motley Crue tour last week.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Shout out to Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. I missed Joan Jett's set because I didn't have a proper guideline of who went on what where. But I did a little pre-show tailgating with former ECW alum. Well, it's not former ECW. He is ECW alumni. Lupus, who was part of Raven's Flock. We got together, had a couple pre-show cocktails. I maybe had one too many. Went into the show, got my second win, Undertakered up in time for Poison. And, came back to life, rocked out the Poison. Shout out to CeCe DeVille. He did a really cool rendition of Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
Cool.
They flashed the stripes up on the screen. Def Leppard, amazing as usual. They all sound, their vocals are amazing. Music's amazing. We hung out for like the first couple, maybe we watched about the first like 5 or 6 songs from Motley Crue. Fortunately, Tommy Lee's a little banged up. He's got some broken ribs and he can only play a couple songs. But, I have important things to do, like go to McCusker's in a town. So we did about 6 songs for Motley Crue. Then we took a powder out and went and hopped on the subway down to McCusker's and then watched the fireworks of the concert from McCusker's, because I guess after the Motley Crue show they let off some fireworks and you could see them from the bar.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was a good night. We went right after we taped last week's episode of Mind the Meanie, and we got together and went on down to it was at Citizens Bank Park where the Phillies play here in Philly. Amazing evening, great evening.
It's one of my favorite things every year when I was a kid was going to the Phillies game with the fireworks, the 4th of July. That was one thing my dad would do. He was always like steadfast on that. We would go with all of our cousins and we'd go and watch the fireworks. I missed it this year. I won't be able to make it because we'll be up in Jersey, but once the boys are a little older, we'll take them.
I guess that's a good thing about living where I live. I can hear most of the things that happen down at the ballpark. Like if it's the right time of evening, you can hear whatever band is playing at Citizens Bank Park all the way over where I live.
Holy shit.
Just natural acoustics or however it's mic'd or whatever. Or, you'll hear it over at McCusker's on 17th and Shunk. We'll hear music and we go outside and we're like, oh yeah, there's a concert. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. You know what else is pretty cool?
What's that?
A question I'm going to ask you.
And what question might that be?
Are you ready to ask Meanie?
I would love to.
It's time to ask Meanie anything.
Ask me something.
Don't forget, tweet us your questions and don't shit your pants while you do it.
Dude, last night, the Monster Factory show was Thursday night. Wednesday night, we went out to McCusker's for a little bit, and they had this beer on tap called John. I was like, fuck, I'll give that a shot, right? It's like an IPA. I was like, oh. So the next day, I'm letting out farts that would fucking take rust off a bumper. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop farting after a certain time because I know I'm going to be in that battle royal.
Oh.
And if I have the perfect one, I'm just going to stand in the corner, let one out, and run a lap in the ring like Rick Steiner and just get everybody. But
crop dusting everybody in the ring.
I had a fart, but I had stage fright. It just wouldn't come out. And I'm at I can't shit myself again in the ring. I can't do that again.
I was just thinking about that story, and
I've shit myself in the ring about 3 times, and the last one was like Waterworld. It was it's so bad because
oh my god,
dude, we're in Pittsburgh. We're at the Ross Raver Ice Arena. It's a great day. I meet Bruno Sammartino, Kurt Angle's there. I go to work this fucking dude, and right in the beginning of the match, I just shit myself. I'm like, oh my god. And the guy wanted to take me for a choke slam. I took the world's worst choke slam because I was clenched. It's like, dude, if I just get any separation, it's gonna be like a Gallagher show, and the front row is gonna look like it's gonna like spinning tires in the mud. Yeah, just fucking hand out a tarp. And I get to the back. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm surveying the damage. And Mrs. Meanie sends me a text. I was like, I shit my pants. She's like, so, and she replies, so should I throw this ice cream cone away I bought for you? I was like, no, I can eat ice cream.
Oh my god.
I toweled off and I cleaned up and threw out whatever I was wearing underneath my Daisy Dukes and had an ice cream cone. Well, my days of shit myself in a ring are done. I can't do that.
I think that would be a big fear for me if I was wearing Daisy Dukes in the ring, that like the poop would actually come through the underpants. Because I've ruined multiple pairs of jeans when you're sick and you trust that fart too much, man. One time I was coming back from, where's I coming back? I think I was coming back from the city. We were at what's the cheesesteak place that used to be there on Roosevelt Boulevard, right across from the Nabisco factory near Patty Wax? Is that Jim's over there or Steve's?
I believe it was Jim's. There's Jim's. There's a Jim's in Northeast Philly, yeah. And
so I went there, got some food, and then we drove home. And I get out of the car, I get up to the front door, I put the key in the lock because I know I'm gonna let loose in a second, right? I turn the key to the door, and as soon as I turn the key, I farted a little bit. And I shouldn't have trusted that fart, and it was like a fucking explosion. It was fucking horrible. It was horrible. All down my leg. It was ruthless. And I had to throw in my jeans.
So there's an ECW original who will remain nameless. An ECW original who will remain nameless, who was driving home and it's fucking fireworks going off.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I heard that.
Yeah. You hear that? Oh, well. An ECW original who will remain nameless, who was driving home and a case of the shits was coming on. He's like, oh my God. He pulls up in his driveway. He's running. He's bumbling for his keys. He can't find the right key to the door. Gets the right key to the door, runs up the stairs. Makes it to the bathroom. Your asshole knows when you're right near the toilet.
Yeah.
And you get stopped like a crippled goose. You're just like, oh, fucking. You're right at the door and you clutch both fucking door panes. Yep. And you're just, motherfucker. He goes in, goes to sit down, starts shitting, and realizes he didn't lift the toilet lid.
Oh my God.
And it just went against the fucking tank and everything.
Oh my God. That is horrific. Oh my God.
You know, your GPS knows where the toilet is.
Yeah.
But it was so bad he couldn't. He no time to turn the fucking light or look for a light.
Oh my God.
Dropped the pants, turned around, sat down, and then spud tires in the mud. Just.
There is absolutely nothing more like, it's like you're trying to defuse a bomb when you're at the toilet getting ready to take a shit and you're trying to get your fucking belt undone in your pants. Cause you're like, there is no stopping this train. This horse is out of the barn, man. We are not stopping this.
If there's a God, he knows how to get in my way when I have to take a shit. Dude, we went and had like Indian food for lunch today. And like a half hour later, my stomach was like, oh, fuck. I went up there and we keep it like right outside the bathroom, top of the steps. We keep a laundry basket. So we're getting a shower. We throw our dirty clothes right in the dirty laundry. I get up there and the fucking thing falls over. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I had to, do a crippled hurdle over pick that up later. I am not bending over to pick up anything right now.
Nope. I am duck walking to the bathroom. I look like Michigan J Frog running away. Feet out.
Just fucking squidding to fucking toilet.
Oh my God. I'm going to hit the Ask Meanie again so we can get us started here on our questions.
It's time to ask me anything.
Ask me something.
It's the shits.
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
Don't forget to tweet us your questions. Now we've been talking about poop. Tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meanie. Use hashtag. I'm focused on poop. Use the hashtag Ask Meanie, and we will read your questions on the show. Here's a good one to start us this week. Pod Squad member Andy Schlichter wants to know, what do we have to do to get a meetup between Philadelphia legend and wrestling fan John Kruk and the Blue Meanie?
Dude, I would love to meet up with him. We follow each other too on social media. He follows me. I follow him. I love him. I don't know I don't know his opinions on me, but maybe as a fellow big man in sports, maybe he has a mutual admiration. No, I love John Kruk. My grandma loved John Kruk. She's big. My grandma was a huge Phillies fan. Somewhere in my house, I have his autobiography called "I Ain't an Athlete, Lady."
Yes. Yes.
Where some lady yelled something at him, and he's like, "I ain't an athlete, lady." I need to find that, and I need to get that signed by John Kruk. But, dude, I would love to meet up with John Kruk eventually and take a photo. I love that guy. Look, the 93 Phillies were the ECW of pro baseball.
Yes.
And so much so that I wrote an article for Sports Illustrated about it. They reached out, I forget my buddy's name right off bat, but he reached out and wanted me. He liked the way I wrote, and I was like, I have the perfect analogy of how the '93 Phillies were ECW. Maybe we'll post on our social media and stuff like that. But John Kruk was the epitome of John Kruk was like the Balls Mahoney character, just the ripped jeans and the mullet and stuff like that. But Shane Douglas was. Who's the pitcher?
Mitch Williams?
No, the other one, the blonde haired. Oh my God,
Kurt Schilling.
Yeah. Jim Eisenreich was Lance Storm. Quiet but steadfast. Just perfect analogy and stuff like that. But dude, I would love to meet John Kruk. I have to meet John Kruk eventually. I'm
gonna tweet this at John Kruk. I'm gonna clip this video. We're gonna tweet it at him. John, we'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to see you anywhere. Cheesesteaks on us, sir. Mark and Dryden wants to know, was Sabu a wrestler who could only have succeeded in ECW? Any others like him that come to mind?
Yeah, Sabu was like one of the last outlaws, I'm sure he could have worked anywhere, but ECW was perfect for him because Sabu was basically a product of the Sheik. And Sheik was such an outlaw that, he picked up a lot of good things from the Sheik, and he picked up maybe a couple rebellious habits from the Sheik that might have, hurt him in the long run. But, Sabu, just like the Sheik, did things his way. I often say it's a shame you can't, trademark a wrestling move, how songwriters write songs and they register them with ASCAP or something like that. You're playing certain chords and all that stuff, and Sabu's doing certain moves, but he was doing certain moves in a certain way that a lot of people wound up copying.
Right.
And he gets none of the credit. And when people, credit, was Sabu the first person to ever go through a table? No. I watched Randy Savage pile drive Ricky Morton through a table in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum. I rewound that 30 million times because it was like the most amazing thing. I thought he killed Ricky Morton. But Sabu took the whole table thing to a new level to where it's still done today.
Yeah.
And he gets none of the credit. And it would be nice if one announcer was like in the shades of legendary hardcore icon Sabu. It would be nice if he got that recognition. But could he? Sure. He knew he was an amateur wrestler. He knows how to work. But for his character, he just did those things. And those things he did in ECW kind of spawned the Attitude Era. I think ECW as a whole spawned the Attitude Era, but Sabu was definitely a part of that movement that spawned the ECW. It made ECW catch on as quick as it did. Because look at him, all the scars on his body and the sacrifices. He was a human missile.
Yep.
Just diving through the air, and wherever he landed, that's whoever he is, who he hit. Yeah. And he's paying the price for it now. Between the pain he goes through on an everyday basis. But yeah, he could have made his style work anywhere. It just his work and style probably wouldn't have been his detriment. Just some of the old school mentality of the rebellious Sheik might have what cost him opportunities.
I think also too, it's important to.
There's no wrong with the Sheik. I'm not. The Sheik was a rebel, and Sheik did things on his own terms. He was an outlaw. Is like punk rock, But playing within the world of the WWE politics, his philosophy probably would have done more to hindered him than his wrestling style.
I think it's important also to say that Sabu worked at the time that he was wrestling, because it was a different time. The 90s were a different time. I don't necessarily know if, again, and we've talked about this before, but I don't necessarily know if a lot of the stuff that you guys did in ECW would necessarily translate today. I definitely think that there's a thirst for it, but I don't know if it would necessarily be, I don't think it would influence WWE in the way that it did in the 90s, right? Because you guys arguably, ECW was that was what sparked the Attitude Movement, the Attitude Era, rather. Because if it hadn't been for you guys, they would have never pushed, neither company would have pushed the envelope, and nothing would have succeeded the way that it did. But
WWE had grown into a literal circus and become stagnant.
Yeah.
And WCW was certainly stagnant, and their business was hurting to the point where they stopped doing house shows and were just, doing TV tapings here and there. Everybody was hurting. And, they were doing stupid shit like, the Dungeon of Doom and the White Castle of Fear, and fucking WWE literally had a clown. They said wrestling is nothing but a circus. They said, oh, well, here's our clown. Here's Doink. WWE was the antithesis of all that. ECW was the Sex Pistols.
Yes.
They had one great album, and that album spawned on many a generation.
Yep.
Even though the band within itself couldn't maintain for whatever their deal was. But I say ECW was the Sex Pistols. I say it was Haley's Comet. it shone brightly for a split second, for a moment in time, but whoever saw that was affected for the rest of their life.
Agreed.
And I know that because every time I go to a show, people tell me everything they loved about ECW. People, and just like anything, people will pass it down to the next generation, and that it's like a family heirloom. It's like grandmom's good china.
Yeah.
Here's our dishes. Here's our here's our ECW.
I was just gonna say that. James keeps asking me, my oldest, because he's been in your presence a couple of times, and he's like, Dad, Meanie wrestled in WWE. I said, yeah. I said, but I knew Blue Meanie when he was in ECW. And he goes, what's ECW? And I said, I'll tell you when you're a little bit older. I can't tell you right now. You're not allowed to watch it right now. I said, it's very extreme. But,
it's like when a father passes on his family play.
Come on in, kid. Let's have a seat here over here. We're going to teach you today about Extreme Championship Wrestling. We're going to take a look. Your mom doesn't like this kind of stuff, so we're going to watch it in here. Yeah.
She frowns upon it.
When Dad's around, you're going to get the good stuff. Mark and Dryden has another question here. Since I've never been anywhere near the industry, which is why I'm not using insider terms, what are your guys' favorite bad guy turns of all time? That's a good question.
As far as,
turn and heel.
Turn heel?
I'm not in the industry either. I just know that's the right nomenclature.
What's the best phrase for becoming a villain?
No, I think he wants to know who was our favorite heel turn.
Oh.
Yeah, what was the favorite heel turn? Yeah.
That is a good question. It took me a second. I'm stuck on stupid today.
Hey, man.
Oh, my God. It would probably have to be Shawn Michaels, right?
Yeah, in the 90s with Marty, right?
That was an iconic moment when that moment outlived the interview segment that they were on. The barbershop.
Yeah. Yeah.
He threw him the barbershop window, which people talk more about him throwing him through the barbershop window than people ever have talked about the barbershop.
Yeah.
People talk about Piper's Pit all the time. And, that's the most iconic interview segment in history. But the barbershop was, a nice little avenue for Brutus the Barber Beefcake. But they had been teasing a breakup between the Rockers. And then when it happened on the barbershop and he threw him through that plate glass window, talk about iconic moment that's been played over and over again. Hogan was good too.
Right. Hogan was unexpected, I think.
It was unexpected, but the fans had turned on Hulk by that point.
Yeah.
Where even his babyface shit was getting booed. So it took him to become a heel to become a babyface again. Yeah. They started cheering him again when he turned heel.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to the Rockers, I don't think anybody really expected Shawn Michaels to turn heel at the time.
No.
He had been having a series of matches. He had a really good match with Ric Flair that was a part of the build to him turning on Marty, where Marty put him back in the ring and Flair beat him, stuff like that. But for me, since it's just personal opinion and not fact, I would have to say Shawn Michaels turning on Marty Jannetty. Because you say barbershop window and people know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. Obviously I got to default to Hogan, but I don't want to give that answer because like I said, that was the best one. I feel like, I don't know.
It's industry.
Yeah.
In a way.
I don't know if anybody could ever really beat that heel turn, but for me, maybe Roman Reigns is up there, the way they executed it, because I feel, again, when we've talked about this before, but I feel like the Thunderdome really allowed that character to grow in a way that was natural. And not forced. I've talked about this before. Jey Uso, and I tweeted it the other day. Jey Uso and Montez Ford, both of those guys are going to be their future WWE champions. Unquestionably. Every time I watch them wrestle on Monday Night Raw, I always tweet, this is a future WWE championship match. But I think the story that solidified Roman being a heel with main event Jay. I think that was just excellently done. Say what you want about the Thunderdome, say what you want about the PC era, but that Roman Reigns heel turn, because it was slow too and methodical, and I think the only way they pulled that off was when they were closed down. And I think that was a good recent example. But I could say too, I would also lean into it with your Shawn Michaels turn. I think that also is a solid
the
one.
best heel turns are the ones they don't expect.
Yep.
Or shit, I'll go even old school. How about Zbyszko turning on Bruno?
Yeah.
That was out of nowhere, and shit, they sold out stadiums with that. They sold out Shea Stadium. If you want to get historical about it, Zbyszko was the prodigal son, however you want to say that. He was Bruno's golden boy that he was training to be the next Bruno, and the mentor, the student turned on the mentor. And if you go on YouTube and look up Larry Zbyszko turning heel on Bruno Sammartino and just watch the visceral reaction from the crowd, people wanted to hit the fucking ring, So it's Shawn turning on Marty and Zbyszko turning on Bruno just for sheer what the fuck,
Last question of the night. Peter Melnick, the Sausage King of Chicago, asks, have you ever been on a submarine?
No. I think I'm banned from submarines or any small impacted areas where there's no ventilation.
Confined spaces.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be honest, I don't think I would ever want to go on one just because I think I would freak the fuck out. Like I get close. Like I watch videos of people swimming underground in underwater caves, and my breathing just gets restricted. I'm just like, also it takes this one earthquake and you're just popped like a pimple underneath there and nobody's going to find you.
Never. They will never find you. There is no cell phone service. There is no way out. Fuck that.
There's a YouTube channel. It's like Fascinating Horror. And there was this dude who was, there's people who crawl through caves and they're going through tight things. And they had improperly marked one, and he went down the one area where there was no way out, and he got stuck, and they couldn't get him out. And they found him, and they tried to tie a rope to his leg and pull, and he got up, and he got stuck. So they couldn't. He died, and they poured cement over that thing to entomb his body in the cave. So. No, I've never been in a fucking submarine either.
Wait, let me go back and make sure I understand this. So they mismarked a map. He goes,
like there's a map that says don't go down here,
and so
he did.
He goes in there, and they can't get him out,
right? And
then he gets stuck on the way out.
They get him halfway up either road, and he falls further into the cave. And they just sent down a walkie-talkie so he could say goodbye to his loved ones. And they just left him there to die.
And then when he died, they poured concrete on top of him.
Yes. To make it they entombed it. I'll send you the video. It's on YouTube.
My God.
They made a movie about it too, I think. And it's not the one where it's not the one James Franco was in where he had to saw his own arm off. But let me see. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Wow. That is absolutely fucking horrifying. I will never go spelunking or cave exploring. Fuck all that shit, man. Get a hobby. Yeah, that's fine. Get a different hobby. No, like those people, I've seen like pictures where people are crawling in spaces that are like this fucking big underneath like the world. No way. Yeah. Not a fucking chance in hell will you ever catch my fat ass doing anything of the sort.
Oh, man. I was trying to find the name.
No fucking way, man.
It's like a cave out in the middle of the United States.
Oh, Schlichter says, timely, the USS Intrepid, the Body Slam Challenge, has a submarine you can tour next to it. That's pretty fucking good, man. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. But Meanie, I want to thank you for doing the show with me and entertaining us and answering the questions. Don't forget, tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meanie on Twitter using the hashtag AskMeanie. But I got to ask you one more thing, Meanie, before the end of the show, as you're finding the spelunking cave.
Yeah, I can't find it.
I'm kind of glad you can't, because I think if I watch it, I would just be sitting up with bug eyes staring at the ceiling all night long.
Panicking Plains Cave, I think it was.
What's it called? Panicking?
Pannikin Plains Cave. I think that was it.
Plains.
I'll find it.
Wait, I think I found it. Yeah, The Rescue in 1988.
Something like that.
Good.
But where were we?
Oh my God, is this him? Oh no, it's a helicopter crash. Okay, so what I was asking was, where can everyone find you on social media?
If you listening at home, would like to follow the Blue Meanie on all forms of social media, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which, I don't know. At Blue Meanie BWO. If you want to support the Blue Meanie, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie /Mind of the Meanie. And for the sake of this plug, /Foundation Radio.
Thank you.
Right now, there's a special sale until tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Use promo code America22. Save 20% off at prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie, Mind of Me, and Foundation Radio. Also, go Collar and Elbow. collarandelbowbrand.com. Collar and Elbow is the wrestling brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and use coupon code Meanie and save 10%. They got the Rod Hicks is doing an amazing job over there. They just had a relaunch, putting up some new products, so go check them out. If you would like to look as good as my beard looks and smell as good as my beard smells, go to madcatbeardcare.com. I have a fantastic scent over there called the Blue Spruce. Josh Thornton's doing amazing work over there. All the proceeds from madcatbeardcare.com goes to taking care of feral cats. So if you're a cat lover and have a beard, or if you don't have a beard but know somebody who does and wants a perfect gift, go to madcatbeardcare.com. Hey, if you want me to send you you or a loved one a message, go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO for birthdays, holidays, well wishes, whatever your heart desires. Go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. January 23rd, 2022, I will be at Legends of Hamburg convention. The Pro Wrestling Fan Fest returns to the historic Hamburg Fieldhouse in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, home of where Zbyszko turned on Bruno. So come and say hi to the blue guy, legendsofhamburg.com. Also, August 6th, I will be returning home to the 2300 Arena for the Icons of Wrestling Fan Fest. I went and got a special order of some Blue Spruce beard care. So I will have some new items there for sale at the Icons Arena of the Mad Cat Beard Care Beard and Balm. I'll have some special posters that I'll be selling. You have to come see what they are. I think you'll be happy. On August 6th, come say hello to the blue guy, Icons of Wrestling, August 6th at the 2300 Arena. And Mr. Barnard, where can we find you?
Thank you, Mr. Meanie. I appreciate that. You can find me on my social medias at Instagram and Twitter at This Is Goober. Yes, that is my handle. No, I'm not changing it. It's a brand, pal. You can also go right now, like Meanie said, prowrestlingtees.com/Foundation Radio using promo code America22. Get 20% off of your swag from my site. Don't forget to listen to my other program, Foundation Radio, by finding all of my content at foundationradio.net. I will also be at Icons of Wrestling August 6th. It's the day after my birthday. I will not be appearing. I'll be there to see Mr. Meanie and also Ken Shamrock. So come and say hi if you see me. I will be floating around there as well. Pod Squad, thank you so much for joining us. Pod Squad, we love you so much. Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Sign up right now. Become a member. See our beautiful faces every week when we record. Sometimes it's at night. Sometimes it's during the day. Maybe a midnight show. We don't know. We're wilding out here, having a good time. Meanie, thank you so much for doing the show. I appreciate your time as always.
You.
And trusting me to guide the ship while Real Daddy is off finding cigarettes and sailing the world. When are you coming home, Real Dad? For the Blue Meanie, I'm not crying. For the Blue Meanie, I'm Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip through the mind
Blue World Order.
of the Meanie. Peace.
Blue World Order.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie was recorded and produced by Adam Barnard and was engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional production and narration provided by Sam Krebs. Our executive producers are Josh Chernoff, Adam Barnard, and the Blue Meanie. Our opening theme is performed by the Swamp Candles. Our closing theme is performed by Chikara. The show contains original music produced by Enrichment. Get additional bonus content by becoming our patron on Patreon at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at mindofthemeanie. This has been a Butts Carlton media production in conjunction with the MLW Radio Network. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?
The world of MLW Radio never stops.